Let's talk about productivity. When we're working full time, we think that if only we had more time to work on our business, we would be making so much more money. But what I want to tell you today is that that is not actually the case.
Hey, teacher friend. Welcome to Online Business for Teachers, the podcast for educators who are tired of being tired and wondering if there's more out there. Are you up late Googling online jobs for teachers or how to make extra money from home? Do you dream about starting a business, working from home, or finally getting paid for the resources you've already created without adding more stress to your plate? I'm Monica Lopez, a former teacher who was burnt out, overwhelmed, and secretly searching for a way out. I wanted more time with my kids, the freedom to work from home, and a way to make money doing something I actually enjoyed. That's when I discovered the simplest path, creating and selling my own teacher resources, using the skills I already had. Now, I help teachers like you turn your ideas into income with step-by-step guidance, real talk about finding time to grow your business, and the mindset shifts that help you believe it's actually possible. So close those lesson plans and grab your favorite drink. It is your turn now.
I have to be very honest with you because I feel like it's a big misconception that we all have. And it's a problem because we quit our job and then we end up not working as much or not making as much money as we thought we were going to, and then we feel like we have failed. So today I want to talk to those of you who still have a full-time job and also to those who are at home working full-time in your business, because I'm sure that you are nodding your head right now because you know what it's like. Today's episode is about productivity and how to make yourself work even when you don't want to. The biggest issue is not that we don't have enough time. We all have the same amount of time in the day. When we're working full time, we still have time in the evenings and weekends. And when we stay home and work on our business full time, we have so many distractions from what we want to do because we technically don't have to do anything because the consequences are just our own, right? So if we don't have a fire up our butt to motivate us, we are stuck in planning or thinking or learning or scrolling or whatever we think is productive, but it's actually not making us any money. Okay. And like I said, this goes for the people who are still in the classroom, working full time, and for the people who are staying home and working full time from home, because the brain is the same. Okay. And I'm going to tell you here in just a little bit how to work through that lack of motivation or that hesitation that we have that doesn't let us work. So a couple of months ago, I was talking to a few of my business friends and I expressed my issue. I felt like I was working hard, but not much was actually getting done. It was at the beginning of the last quarter of the year, and I was coming to the realization that I was still a ways to go in my yearly revenue goal. So I began to look at what was causing this, and sure enough, I was doing so much learning and so much planning, but I wasn't really executing. Therefore, my revenue was suffering. Now, I've always considered myself the queen of productivity and planning and executing and all of those things. I'm very efficient. But being at home with no time crunches, I was getting a little unproductive, okay? It felt like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow because I have time. It feels like time never ends. And so you are in danger of always putting things out for another day, another week. And so things happen, doctor's appointments and chores and kids and family, all the things happen. And you end up not doing everything that you really wanted to do. You don't really realize it until, the last quarter and you're realizing like, oh, wait, what's going on here? All right. So I remembered a book that I highly recommend It's by Mel Robbins. I read it years ago, actually, back in like 2020. I don't know when it actually came out, but that's when I read it, and it actually changed so much about my life. But, it's 5 years ago, and I guess I just had forgotten about it. But anyways, I highly recommend it. It's called The 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins. And here's the essence of it. Your brain will talk you out of anything within 5 seconds. If you don't act quickly, you won't act at all. So the rule here is to count backward 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move. This interrupts the hesitation and creates momentum. Yeah, but how does this help with making more money? Well, the reason we're not making the money we want to is because we're not acting on our ideas or the work that we know we have to do in order to make the money. And the reason that we are not acting is because we're thinking ourselves out of it. We stall, we overanalyze, we hesitate, we convince ourselves that doing the thing is not a good idea at all. We give in to the fear of failure, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of judgment, etc. All the things. So by using the 5 second rule, we don't give our brain a chance to think, and we begin moving right then and there. No hesitation, no analysis paralysis, no time for fear of any kind. So how did it actually help me? Well, instead of thinking about creating my next product right after breakfast, I just do it. I give myself a set amount of time for meals, for cleaning up the house, for workout, for all the things that have to be done at home. Because, yeah, spoiler alert, when you're working from home, you take on more responsibilities than if you are working outside of the home. So I get home from taking the kids to school and I set myself a timer. And in that time that I set it for, I have to eat breakfast, I have to do the tidying up the house, any phone calls, any house managing or whatever it is that I need to do that has to do with my home. And when the timer is up, I get to clock in, so to speak. I move on. No thinking, no stalling, because motivation is actually a myth. Nobody is motivated to sit in front of the computer and work for 6 hours straight. We may love what we do, but sitting there for 6 hours is not exciting. Your eyes get tired, the hand you're using to work the mouse hurts, all the things. It's hard work. And because the brain doesn't like to work hard, it tries hard to get out of it in the form of cleaning the house or scrolling or calling your friend or going to the store or taking a much needed nap, learning a new way of doing something, even if you don't need it. Okay, so you feel like you're being productive, but you're really not, because you're not actually doing anything. You're consuming, you are stalling, you're evading the work, right? You get the gist here. Another thing I highly recommend is what came from one of my business friends. She calls it the first domino effect. I don't know where she got it from actually, and I hadn't heard about it before, and I do a lot of reading, but oh my goodness, it makes so much sense. Her name's Sarah, and she also stays home to work on her business full time, so she has a lot of experience with managing her time and things like that. This is how the first domino works. You don't have to do everything, you just have to tip the first domino. Now for her, this starts the night before with her bedtime routine. She always does the same bedtime routine and always goes to bed at the same time every single night. That way, her body is prepared to wake up in the morning and start her morning routine. She lays out her workout clothes in the morning so that in the morning she just grabs them without thinking and works out without thinking, and then goes on about her day in the same way every single workday. No decisions to be made because the decisions were already made the night before. When I heard about this, I thought, oh my goodness, this is so amazing, because it meant that all I had to do was identify my first domino. So I did. My first domino is writing out my schedule the night before. Okay, you can make your first domino whatever you want. To me, it made sense to have my whole plan written out the night before, because that way when I woke up in the morning, I just follow what it was. I'm really good at following a schedule, but it's really hard when there is no schedule, right? So Here's how I do it. I write out my schedule in 30-minute increments from when I wake up to when it's time to go to bed. I include all of the time blocks for business, for home, for kids, for rest, for meditation, for workout, all the things. Now, sometimes I also write down what I need to get done each week or each month. And this is separate from the first domino. So depending on the projects that I have planned, I sometimes schedule 2 weeks in advance or sometimes a week in advance. And other times it's a whole month in advance. Either way, this removes the decision fatigue. I know exactly what I have to do and when I have to do it. All I have to do is actually do it. So coupled with the 5-second rule, this works like magic. Planning like this gives me clarity and direction, and it really exposes what I actually can get done. I have a pretty good idea of how long my tasks take, so I factor in the time when I plan. If they don't get done, I need to work during the weekend, and I don't want to do that. So that's the fire at my butt. So here's how to apply it in your business and your life. Step 1, pick one domino. It can be tomorrow's schedule, or it could even be like cleaning up your workspace so it's ready for you in the morning, or it could be like opening a file that you know that you need to work on, or maybe just get really clear as to what needs to be completed this week. Y'all, sometimes I feel overwhelmed with all the tasks that I want to complete, so I feed them all into ChatGPT and ask it to prioritize them, and it does a really good job at it. Now, I do have to give it some prompting because sometimes I have deadlines for myself and I say, okay, this has to be done by this day and this has to be done by that day, but just put everything on there and say, or I have to get everything done in the next 2 weeks or the next month or whatever the case may be. I do have to prompt it a little bit, but put your tasks into ChatGPT and tell it to prioritize or list them out in bullet points, however you want it, and it'll do it for you. And that way you can list it out on your calendar, okay? So step 1 is pick one domino. And step 2 is use a 5-second rule. You can read or you can listen to the book if that's how you roll. But if anything, when your brain feels tired or if it hesitates to do a task that you know needs to get done, count backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. Like, don't think about it. Just as soon as you hit the 1, you go. Get up and start doing the thing. Okay? Step 3. Let me know how this works for you. You can email me, you can message me on Messenger, Instagram. I would love to know how this is working out for you because honestly, it has changed so much in my business and personal life. So go out there this week and write down all the tasks that you have been putting off, feed them to ChatGPT, ask it to prioritize them, giving it some data if you have like due dates and stuff. Write down your tasks on your calendar or your planner. Like literally put them in your calendar because if it's not on the calendar, it's probably not going to get done. All right. And then just get to work. All right. Okay. I hope this episode gets you out of busy and not productive. Okay. If this episode hit home for you and you know you've been busy but not productive, this is exactly what I help teachers do inside my one-on-one coaching calls. I help you focus on what needs to be done and forget about everything else because sometimes our brain tells us that we have to do all of the things, but we're really not being productive. In our one-on-one coaching calls, we look at what you are working on and what actually makes money and what you need to stop overthinking about so that you can actually start executing. No fluff, no endless learning, just clarity, a plan, and action. Okay? I help you stay accountable for the work in your business. All right, if you want more support applying what we talked about today to your business, you can book a one-on-one coaching call with me. I'm going to link it in the show notes so you can just click on it and schedule your call. All right, guys, I will see you next week. I hope this episode was helpful to you.
Hey, teacher friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If this show is helping you dream a little bigger, would you take 30 seconds to leave a quick review? It means the world to me, and it helps more teachers find their way to this podcast. I'll meet you back here next week. Take care and keep dreaming bigger.